Now let's talk about the listing securities in stock exchange. So in a stock exchange, if we see, so transaction cannot be transacted unless they are listed in the stock exchange. So listing is a basic stock exchange operation which actually enables easy marketability and easy negotiability and liquidity also. So these three functions, what happens that when you list a particular security in a stock market, a stock exchange, sorry, so stock exchange, so easy ready marketability, liquidity and free negotiability, these three facilities you get, your particular securities get. That is why listing of security is a basic function for any further like grouping the shares or anything. So it is compulsory for those companies which intend to offer their shares debenture to public by issuing a prospectus. So there are few shares like group A, group B and group C shares. What is the procedure? So first you have to notify the stock exchange. The company must notify the following things. What? Date of board meeting at which declaration of dividend will be considered, change in the board management, issuance of new shares and right shares, changes in the capital, substantial change in the nature of company business, reissue of forfeited shares, intention to make drawing of listed share and particular of share forfeited, and listing agreement. So these are few things which they have to tell. So how can you remember that? First they have to do board meeting to declare the dividend, then they sometimes change the board management, and then issuance of new shares and right shares, changes in the capital, substantial change in the nature of company sometimes happen, then forfeited share, particulars of the forfeited shares, and make drawing of the listed shares. Okay, now what is the criteria of listing? So there are some conditions which have to be fulfilled. These are that at least 60% of each, okay, at least 60% of the each class of the securities issued must be offered to the public for subscription. Okay, so 60% of the each class of the securities issued must be offered to the public for subscription. That means A, B, C, all the classes should be offered at least 60% of that. So the minimum issued capital should be rupees 3 crore, minimum issued 3 crore. Okay, the minimum public offer of the subscription must be at least 25% of the each issue. Okay, so this you need to remember. Then 25% of the each issue. Okay, the company should be of fair size, it should be of fair size. There must be at least 10 public shareholders for every rupees 1 lakh. So that means sorry, there must be at least 10 public shareholders for every 1 lakh. Okay, 10 public shareholders for every 1 lakh. The AOA must provide for the following, like a common form of transfer, call in advance, carry only interest, then fully paid shares will be completely free from lien, and unclaimed dividend shall not be forfeited. Unclaimed dividends shall not be forfeited. These all should be there in your prospectus. Okay, like AOA, sorry, article of association should include all these things, that is common form of transfer, calls in advance, carry only interest, fully paid shares will be completely free from lien, unclaimed dividend shall not be forfeited. Then additional obligation, company must satisfy the following, that declaration of all dividend, cash, bonuses at least 5 days before the commencement of the closure of its transfer books. Insurance of receipt for all security, so providing right to shareholders regarding renunciation, closing of transfer books only for the purpose of declaration of the dividend. Okay, so only for the purpose of the declaration of dividend, these 4 additional criteria you have to follow. That means declaration of all dividend, cash, bonuses at least 5 days before of the commencement of the closure of its transfer book. Okay, so if closure of the transfer books, then before 5 days. Now listing agreement, it is the stock exchange. In the stock exchange, the authorities of the stock exchange will scrutinize the application, and if they are satisfied, they will call upon the company to execute listing agreement. Okay, so this is what we need to know. Now what documents have to be submitted? So actually this technical I am going this today because anything can come, or of course we never know, right? So notify the stock exchange. So see, broadly you can you can remember the notify the stock exchange, criteria for listing, and then some additional obligations like 5 lakh rupees, and there you see 3 crore rupees, 25%, 60% of the every kind of security should be forfeited, unclaimed dividend shall not be forfeited, and then listing agreement, and then what documents are there is like letter of application, form of application, and then distribution schedules should be given, like they show the distribution of securities, and according to the regulatory category of the holder and size holding. Okay, so this all should be there. Now next part, it comes listing agreement. Okay, so see, this was not that important, of course. Copies of agreement on all, of course, not important, like declaration of all dividend, cash bonuses last 5 years, and all that is not that important. Okay, next let's move for the listing agreement. Listing agreement actually provides the a forum of for continuing relationship between the company and stock exchange. Okay, this agreement promotes the interests and of the shareholder. When the application for listing is accepted, the authorities of the stock exchange will call upon the company to execute a listing agreement. Under this agreement, the company undertakes to fulfill certain obligation, and its objective is to perform certain acts, make certain disclosure of affair and activities, and to provide facilities for the free transfer of shares. Okay, so these are actually why is it done? Of course, to protect the shareholders, so that time to time they can disclose their policy, and then the particular shareholders can decide after seeing that. So the listing agreement shall contain the following obligation: all the applicants for shares and debentures shall be treated with the equal fairness in allotment. The company will have to notify the board meeting at which dividend will be recommended. Any major change in the nature of the business, change in the capital, issue of shares. So that means board meeting, dividend recommendation, if there is any change in the nature of business, or if there is any change in the capital or issue of shares. So if securities are oversubscribed, then company will consult with the stock exchange to arrive at the basis for making allotment. So how should it make allotment? It will also talk about it. The company will have to uh, submit copies of annual audited account. So annual audited account will be submitted to the stock exchange, and the company will have to notify the stock exchange about redemption or treatment of the listed securities. So whatever may be the listed security, it has to tell about the particular redemption or retirement. A company will have to comply with all the condition of listing agreement. Advantages of the listing agreement: that following are the advantages: that it lays down the relation between the stock exchange and the company. Fair practice are followed by the company in interest of the investing public. So because it now discloses any nature of change in the company, or any particular like date of boarding, then how dividend will be discussed, all these are disclosed. So that is why it is good for the whom, for the investors. Now what are the demerits of the securities, like listing security? That is, various regulatory measures are there, that is problem. Disclosure of various information, because these information may be dangerous, right? Because sometimes certain key informations may prove dangerous, and disclosure of financial result may be harmful in the interest of the company. So that is also the problem. Then unnecessary expenditure like AGM, annual report are dispatched to shareholder. It is unnecessary expenditure, sometimes it is seen, because most of the investors who invest, they do not even see that. No guarantee of the financial soundness. Listing of securities does not guarantee the financial soundness of the company or profitability. It merely indicates company's solvency and legal establishment. Okay, so we cannot say that it is financially sound or not. Then loss of freedom of management. Listing of securities involve inconvenience and loss of freedom of management. Yeah, because you have to, if you change the board member, you have to tell. If you change the nature of the company, you have to tell. If you are issuing some particular so you have to tell. That means every step you have to notify, and if you have to, then the notification also takes at times. So that is also. So how, what 4 points we have seen, that various regulatory measures are there, disclosure of various information, various regulatory measures, disclosure of various informations, then unnecessary expenditure, and thereafter no guarantee of the financial soundness, and loss of freedom of management. So these 5 points, do remember: various regulatory measures, disclosure of various information, and then unnecessary expenditure, no guarantee of the financial soundness, and loss of freedom of management. What are the advantages? Ready market and liquidity. So of course that we talked about that: ready marketability, liquidity, and free free negotiability, right? Proper supervision of and control, easy and best ascertainment of the price, and thereafter transferability of the securities. Transfer listing provide transferability of securities, section 28 of the Security Contracts Act. Okay, Security Contracts Act 1956. Protection of shareholder, regular information, and other advantages are there, like widely held companies. It is like it gives tax advantage, wide publicity of the listing companies, and there also promotion of the investment and flow of the saving into capital market, and useful for the computation of the income and wealth tax. So what all are the advantages? That is ready market and liquidity, and proper supervision and control, easy and best ascertainment of the price, easy and best ascertainment of the price, then regular supervision, and then that easy marketability, best prices are there, right? Transferability of the security, protection to shareholder. All these are some important points that you can remember and you can quote in your examination. So again I am repeating once more, that is ready marketability, market and liquidity, and that proper supervision and control, investor security, regular information, protection of the shareholder. Yeah, that all are the points. Okay. Now what is delisting of the companies? That is voluntary cases of delisting. So that is causes of the delisting and compulsory causes of delisting. What are the voluntary causes? If the company is unable to pay the listing fees, many companies purposefully avoids it. If capital base of the company is small, if company's base business is stopped or it is closed, if you cannot pay, if your company business is small, if company business is stopped or it closed, demerger, merger, takeover, amalgamation are also the reason. Now, compulsory cause of delisting, that is violating listing agreement, negligible trading, thin share holding base, and unfair trade practices, non-redressal grievance, thin trading, non-payment of listing fee. So all these are the problems that are there, like non-redressal of the grievance, negligible trading, thin shareholding base, and unfair trade. So how will you remember it? Like if you violate, if you don't pay fee, if you don't pay fee, okay, uh, and thin share holding base, all this. Okay, so I hope you understood it. And the screen based trading is very easy. That means like screen based trading is all about like how you trade through the electronic means. It is all that, like internet, using internet and computers. Okay, what are the advantages? Like transparency in prices, knowledge of prices, and you see that reduction in expenses, faster settlement, and periodic status report support and report, and investors security. So these are few important points, that reduction in expenses, faster settlement, periodic status report, and investor security, because in investor every time gets notification. And I hope it is clear. Transparency in prices, knowledge of prices, and reduction in expenses, faster settlement, security of the shareholder, and periodic status report. Okay, so I hope it was clear with you, and here it the topic finishes. See you in the next topic. Bye bye, take care, all the best for your examinations.